Hi, I'm Cliff, and this is my garage. And today, we're going to take these old, beat-up, yellowed headlight covers and make them look almost like new. Welcome back to the garage. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. So this is my 2006 Porsche Cayman S that I bought a few months ago. And if you saw the original video where I said I had bought the world's ugliest sports car, you'll remember I talked about the headlights and how I didn't like the way they looked. And the reason was they had like a tint film over them that just kind of looked odd. It looked a little discolored. It was also kind of scratched and beat up, and it was beginning to crack. It just looked terrible. Well, subsequently, I found when I peeled the tint film off, the polycarbonate headlight cover underneath wasn't in much better shape. The cover has a large number of scratches and dings, and it's just in kind of bad shape. It's a little bit yellowed, but not much, because I think it spent a good number of years underneath that tint film which protected it. But it looks like at some point someone did try to polish it and did a bad job. And so what we're going to do is we're going to clear all that up. We're going to make it nice and smooth and shiny, and just get it close to original condition. I tried a number of things to clean these headlights up, and some of them didn't work very well. Some of them didn't work at all. Others that I saw were recommended were hard to work with, or they were too aggressive and seemed to be, on the verge of damaging, and they weren't doing a real good job of clearing it. They were just causing too many scratches. So I also saw some other techniques that involve using sandpaper, which makes sense, and they do work. You start off with what in the woodworking world is a fairly fine grit sandpaper, but in terms of polishing plastics and paint and metal, it's a very low grit. It's around 600 or so. Then you step up, you sand it all in one direction, and then you come back with, like, say, 1,000 grit, and you go the other way. And then you come back and you switch to 2,000. You go this way now. And then you go to 4,000, and then maybe 8,000, and it works. It's really, really tedious, and I'm sure it's really tiring on your arms. So I just kind of eliminated that. And I started kind of thinking, well, what could work as a polish? I looked into maybe using a metal polish, and I tried that a little bit. It didn't work out. I tried using, someone recommended using Mother's aluminum polish. No, didn't work very well at all. Not sure why. It was very hard to control, and it seemed to dry really quickly. It just didn't, it may have eventually worked, but it wasn't working for me. So I started thinking some more about it, thinking, well, the thing is that even though this is a hard plastic, it's still plastic and somewhat soft. I wonder how paint compound would work. And I tried it out, and it worked really, really well. And what I used was Griot's Garage Complete Compound. Now, this is something you normally use on paint for paint correction for getting rid of small scratches and swirl marks. It works really well on that. It's typically applied with a dual action polisher, which is what I use. This is a, well, actually, this is actually a Griot's Garage product. I just realized that. Very nice random orbit, or rather dual action polisher. I really like it a lot. There is another one that a lot of people like. It's from Harbor Freight. And when you get one of their 25% off coupons, you can get it for about 50 bucks, which is about 1/3 the price of something like the Griot's. But I tried it, and I didn't like it. No, it's very good for the money. It does the job, but it has a lot of vibration. I found it just too much to deal with. And it's also really loud. Now, the Griot's machine here, it's far better balanced. It doesn't vibrate your hands to death. It's a lot quieter, and I just think it's well worth the money. I would put it on par with the really excellent random orbit sanders from Festool that I like to use. So let's get busy with doing this. I've got a 4-inch Hex Logic, I think it's called a light or medium cutting pad. I'll give you a link in the description down below, along with a link to the dual action polisher. I don't particularly recommend this pad on here. It's okay. I don't think there's anything particularly special about it, other than it does have kind of a cool hex pattern on the front, but that's it. So let's take the compound, shake it up good, and we're going to put a few very small dots of compound on here. Okay. Then just kind of, just like you're doing a paint correction on a car, just dab it and spread it around. Then make sure you've got the polisher on setting number 1, because if you start off on like setting 5 or 6, it just flings compound everywhere. Trust me, I learned this lesson the hard way. And what we're going to do is just start it up, spread it out, get it going, and then we'll turn it up to 5 or 6 and get the polishing action going. All right, it's spread out good, turning it up to 6. You want to start and stop the buffer on, or the polisher on the surface, again, to keep from throwing stuff everywhere. Okay, so one pass looks pretty good. Just kind of buff it off. Oh yeah, it's greatly improved already. And we'll just keep repeating. Once you get the buffer up to speed, you just work back and forth in one direction and then in the other direction, and then maybe go in circles. Just vary your pattern. Again, just going to take and put on a few, let's say maybe larger, a little larger than a pea size, I don't know. Well, can't get it on there. Turn it back down. This is one thing that there's another brand of polisher, Torx. It's kind of nice because it has a digital control that always starts down on 1, so you can't forget to turn it down. When I was looking for dual action polishers, I didn't think that was a good feature, but now I'm thinking it is. So I'll give you a link to those too. I've never worked with one, but I've heard they're well made and comparable with the Griots. At this point, pretty much all the minor scratches are gone. And the major ones are considerably less prominent. And that area where somebody tried to use some other kind of compound or something that was kind of really scuffed up, it's all nice and smoothed out again. So we'll just keep on doing this a few more rounds. Now, some of you may be wondering why I haven't masked off around the headlight. I don't think I'm touching it that much. I'm certainly not damaging it by the little bit of polishing action that's getting on there. It's designed to work on paint, so I don't see any need to mask it off. Another question is, well, why don't you pop the headlight out to work on it? I could do that. Removing the Cayman headlight pods is very, very easy, but in this case, it does a really good job of holding it. I think it'd be far more difficult to work with and hold it and polish it if it weren't in the car. So I'm just leaving it in. That round made a huge difference. Still got a lot of minor scratches that still need to come out, but it's getting tremendously better with each pass. Okay, that looks pretty darn good. Not perfect. Of course, got to keep in mind this headlight lens is 13 years old. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's hit it with some glass cleaner. I like using invisible glass. Hands down, best glass cleaner I've ever used. Highly, highly recommend it. Okay. Could be better, probably, if I put a lot more work into it, but hey, this is not a concours entrant. This is my daily driver. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, so we'll clean up now, and I think we're good to go. Now, I'm not sure how well this is coming across on camera, but in person, the difference is huge. It looks like a completely different headlight lens, and from 5 feet away, you'd be hard pressed to see that these aren't brand new replacement units. So this technique works really well. I mean, grand total, if I wasn't stopping to explain stuff and show things, I mean, 10 minutes per headlight max. Now, your final step in all this is you want to prevent this from happening again. When you polish up a polycarbonate lens like this, what you're doing is you're removing the upper layer of the plastic on the lens that has yellowed and decayed from UV exposure. But what you're also taking off is, if it's still there, the original manufacturer UV protectant coating. Polycarbonate is a plastic and will decay with exposure to UV light. And so the manufacturers coat it with a UV protective coating. Well, so you've stripped all that away, it's nice and clear, but if you don't protect the lens against UV rays, literally within months, you're going to start clouding up and turning yellow again. Well, not you, but the headlight lens. So we have to replace the UV coating with something similar. And what I like to use, my current favorite, is Meguiar's headlight coating. This gives a nice clear finish on it, protects it against the sun, and it's just the final finishing touch. Now for this, you do need to mask off the headlight lens because you don't want to get this on your paint. And in my case, it's a toss-up whether it's easier to mask off the area or simply pop the headlight pod out. And I'll probably just pop the headlight pod out and take care of it real quick. But either way, this is a necessary step. Now, you may be thinking, well, Cliff, that's all well and good, but I don't have a dual action polisher. I don't have the spray. I don't have the compound. I'd have to spend a lot of money just to do my headlights. And I understand. I'm all about do it yourself. I like the process. You may not have the time, don't want to invest the money. A dual action polisher gets used for a lot of different things, so I consider that an investment long term. But you may not want to do that. You may not even want to spend the $50 on the little Harbor Freight model just to get this job done. Well, I have an alternative for you that's relatively inexpensive and easy, and that is Sam's Club. If you're a Sam's Club member, and you know, in my case, I'd be crazy not to be, You can go in and they will do this job, do it well, guarantee it for 5 years, $40. So for 40 bucks, you can get something equivalent to this. You know, they'll do a nice job for you. I've had several people tell me that Sam's did theirs and they were pretty happy with it. And so it's only $40. It takes an hour to 2 hours, and you just have to make an appointment to go in. So if you're a Sam's Club member, check that out. I think it's a pretty good deal. Okay, so that's it for today. My headlight lenses are looking good. I'm pretty happy. I actually had, it was kind of a fun process, almost cathartic, running the polisher and watching this thing clear up. It was enjoyable. It's part of what I enjoy about working on cars. So, as always, guys, go down there, find that thumbs up button, give me a like on this video. It really helps me out. Subscribe to the channel. That helps me out even more. And make sure you go up there and find that little bell icon. It's right next to the subscribe button in YouTube's current configuration. You click on that, and that way you'll get an email notifying you every time that I post new stuff from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.